Okay, around 12 seconds. Alright. I'm not sure how long this is gonna take, but yeah, once you've gotten the MQL5 program file, it should look like this. With the green check mark thingy thing, and then the file type should say MQL5 program. What you'll want to do is, if you cannot find your okay, you probably won't have an MQL5 experts folder, but no, you actually should. It comes standard with MetaTrader 5, but basically, if you can't find this folder, you're gonna see a lot of EAs, but ignore that. If you can't find this folder, then what I recommend doing is this is what I recommend doing. Don't just double click. You can just double click, but I won't recommend doing that, and I'll tell you slash show you why in a minute. Let me just wait for MetaTrader to open. But basically, what I want to show you is what are the course of action that I'd recommend taking is opening your MetaTrader physically, and then going to file, and then opening your data folder, and then like physically pasting the like, obviously you're gonna copy before doing all of this as I did there, and then you're gonna open your MetaTrader, open your data folder, and then paste it into your data folder so that you'll be able to drag and drop anytime. It'll appear there on the side on your navigator. The navigator, I think it is. Then you'll be able to drag and drop. The computer's been acting like a diva this whole day, so I'll cut to the part when my MetaTrader is open. Okay, there we go. Let me close that. And yeah, as you can see, XM Global, bloody blah. Let me remove this since it's already on my chart. But yeah, what I was saying was, I recommend going to File and then going here, Open Data Folder, right? Then your data folder should open. Your data folder should open. It's a little bit longer than I was expecting, but your data folder should open, and you'll be able to navigate your way to the folder that I was talking about. Just taking a little bit of time to load. There. This is the folder that I was talking about. You want to double click MQL5, and then actually you could probably paste it right here, but I don't recommend doing that. You want to go to experts and then advisors, and then you want to paste it there. Why you want to paste it there is because it'll appear over here in your navigator window, right? I just have a lot of EAs that I've worked on for myself and quite a lot of clients, but that's unimportant right now. Where is, oh, here it is, the trend pilot scalper. So once it's in here, if it doesn't show up immediately as soon as you pasted it, then you want to close your MetaTrader and then open it again. So essentially, once it's shown up here, you can make a new folder for it if you want to. um I actually recommend making a new folder for it before you paste it. Make a new folder, trend pilot scalper, and then double click that folder, go into the folder, paste, then come to your MetaTrader. Then yeah, basically you can just double click it here, or you can physically click, hold it, and then drag it onto the chart. I like doing it like that. Make sure this is on, allow algo trading. Here's the other important part. I'm not sure if I'll have to add my license key again. I don't think I'll need to. I do not think I'll need to, because this my account number has already been authorized. But if your account number has not been authorized, then obviously you've messaged me. Your If you're watching this, I'd like to hope you've messaged me to get your hash key. Then you'll enter your hash key here, and very important, make sure that you entered your hash key, because the EA is, it's gonna automatically disable if you do anything. If you do not listen to what I'm saying now very carefully, it's gonna automatically disable as soon as you press OK. Now, so over here you'll enter your hash key, then you'll pick one of these two. This high frequency, I'll explain what this is, the high frequency mode and then the high confidence mode. Yeah, but essentially, as you can see, the one is slightly higher risk, the other is slightly lower risk. You can take these with a pinch of salt because the risk is more or less the same. You'll just get a few more false entries. You'll get a few more false signals out of this, but you'll get a lot more trades in total, and then you'll get slightly less fake outs from this mode. But you'll, um in correlation, you'll get less signal. Sorry. And yeah, use time filter false. Here's another thing. You wanna have, you see, of the modes that are available, of the things that say true false, you wanna have two trues and two falses, right? Otherwise, again, it's gonna automatically disable. You can't have more than two trues and you can't have more than two falses, essentially. So yeah, this use time filter, I'll explain what that does. The use time filter is basically, as you see here, start hour, server time. By server time, this basically means the time that's at the bottom here, the time that your broker uses. So if your broker is an hour ahead or behind, you'll see that by looking at the current candle. Here it is the I'm not sure if there's an active chart. Okay, wait, I'll show you after I've loaded this on the chart. But essentially, you want to take a look at the current candle on your broker, and you want to use that to assess basically the stop. But basically, this uses your broker's time, this start hour, server times, in hour. Basically, you pick the time sessions that you want the EA to trade. So what that means is, if I wanted to trade London session, for example, I think I mentioned this in the group. I have a very, very bad sleep schedule. So what I would do in this instance is, before I go to sleep, I would turn on time filter, and then let me see, I double click it to turn on time filter. Oh, there, the market just opened. Lol. I would double click it to turn on time filter, and then, because this is, I'm using XM, I'm pretty sure XM is an hour ahead. Let me check real quick. Yes, XM is an hour ahead. So to trade from London Open, I would make this from 10 o'clock, which is in real time going to be 9. Yeah. And then if I wanted it to start trading at 9:30, then I would change the start minute to 30. But I wanted to start trading at 9 o'clock. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that as 0. Yeah. And then if I wanted to trade up until New York session, up until a certain time during New York session, then I could make this up until, I don't know, maybe 8, which plus 1 hour, that'll be 9. Then leave that in minute as 0. Then I'll switch off free search. Free search basically means it openly just searches for setups. It basically means as long as it's on, as long as the EA is active and as long as it's on the chart, it's gonna search for setups. So yeah. But basically the use time filter is, as I was saying, like, I'll switch this on before I go to sleep. Then while I'm sleeping, after, it'll literally, even though it's on from now, it'll only actually start looking for trades at 10. You get what I'm saying? It'll only actively start looking for and taking trades from 10. So basically, these are the hours that it clocks on and clocks off. So yeah, that's that. Then there's the risk to reward ratio. This is basically, as you see here, this 2.0 basically, yeah, as it is. Here's the 1, and then here's the x. The x is this number. So this is basically 1:2. This is 1:3. This is 1:4. You can have that as whatever you want. Honestly, that's up to you. But yeah, 1:3 / 1:4. If you're feeling risky, then 1:4 is my recommended use of this, because this uses 15-minute time frame, and a lot of the winning trades that it takes typically tend to trend for quite a while. So it'll honestly depend on the size of your stop loss and so on and so forth. But yeah, and obviously the hours that you're trading in. But yeah, then there's the lot size. You can change this to 0. You can change this 0 to 0.1 or 0.01. You want to be very, very cautious of this, because there's things like leverage and all of that. But yeah, on indices you want to have this at 0.1, and then on gold, in that it depends on your risk, basically the risk that you'll allow. I'll put it maybe somewhere on the screen or whatever, basically the risk parameters that I'd recommend. Medium risk, at low risk, sorry, you can fund your account starting at 200 Rand. That'll be 0.01. The low risk settings will be 0.01. Stop loss distance, honestly, up to you. I prefer it on gold. I prefer it at 500, and then this is in points, so that's basically 5 pips. And then on indices, I prefer it at 5,000, which is 50 pips. So this is on German 40. So I'll set that to 5,000. And the number of positions per signal. This is supposed to directly correlate with this, your lot size. So at medium risk, you'll have this at 0.02. That's basically 100. That's basically 200 Rand per position at max risk, right? So basically the max risk will be 400 Rand. The minimum fund for medium risk will be 400 Rand. The minimum fund for low risk will be 200 Rand. Then it's risking basically 100 Rand per position, right? And then, yeah, high risk will be 0.03 and up. And yeah, it'll honestly depend on your goal for the day. Sometimes I'll put this on gold or NAS or US30 for the day and just have it on like 5 positions, number of positions at 5. And if I'm on gold, maybe 0.02, 0.03, having funded around about like 500 for the day, somewhere there. If it's a good day, if it's a bad day, oh yeah, and this is another thing that I wanted to talk about. How you fund should be very much based on what you're willing to lose. So instead of funding big or instead of funding big amounts and then having stop losses or basically using stop losses, treat your account as the stop loss. That's just my personal recommendation. Have this here. You see this? I very much do still recommend having a stop loss and then play around with your number of positions as well. So these are two things that you're going to want to look at and pay attention to very closely. Actually, these are three things. You see this lot size, stop loss, and number of positions per signal that you're going to want to be very, 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 very careful with. You see, if I have it on gold for London session, then what I'll do is I'll bridge the medium and the low risk, right? I'll make it so that obviously you're going to have to do a little bit of calculation. You can go on your phone and yes, that's German 40 is dumping, is literally dumping. It's just quite funny because the markets opened a little bit earlier on the previous broker that I had this on, and the bot actually tried selling German 40. And not just then, the bot tried selling German 40 pretty early in the day, like around like 5 p.m., around somewhere here. It kept trying to spam open positions on German 40. But yeah, that's not a story for right now. As I was saying, my crippling ADHD, yeah, you're gonna want to calculate these stop loss distances. If you have your, what I was saying that I do is I'll calculate how much is 100. Like I'll basically calculate how much each stop loss is. So at 0.01, 500 pips should be around about 100 Rand. Yeah, 0.01, 50 pips to 500 pips should be, oh wait, sorry, wait, I'm on indices, 140. I was thinking I was on gold, but yeah. On indices, at 0.1, 550 pips, sorry, one position should be around about 100 Rand, somewhere there within that range. And then, yeah, I'll basically use this and how much I fund to determine the risk that I'm comfortable with. If I have 500 Rand that I'm willing to risk, and I'm willing to risk all of it on one position or two positions or two sets of positions, then I'll basically split that money. It'll be 0.01 risk, it'll be 0.1 risk on indices, or on gold, it'll be 0.01. Stop loss distance, same 500 points for gold, 5,000 points for indices, but you do not have to follow my settings exactly. You can, as I was saying, play around with this. Then number of positions per signal would be 2. I'd have it set at 2, because remember, if it's 500 Rand, then it's basically risking 200 Rand, 100 Rand per stop loss, or 200 Rand per trade, essentially, per trade idea, right? So yeah, and then this break even trigger is basically how many points in profit before it moves the stop loss to break even, right? I personally like to have this the same amount as my stop loss distance, so that at 1:1 and exactly 1:1, then I'm basically risk free. I'll have this at, sorry, wait, 5,000 points. 5,000 or 500 depending on what I'm trading. If I'm trading gold, then it'll be 500. Same way the stop loss would be 500. But if it's indices, then it's 5,000. Again, this also works on currencies. This EA also works on currencies. So it'll honestly depend on you and the settings that you want to apply. I'll show you what I mean by it'll depend on you and the settings that you want to apply. So as I was saying, break even profit in points. What this basically means is how many points above the stop. You can literally even have this at zero. If you have it at zero, it'll move it to exactly where your entry is, exact break even. But what this basically does is once price has reached this number in profits, once it's gone to 1:1 in this instance or in this example, then it'll move your stop loss, whatever number that you have here, into profits. So what I usually like to do is have it move 10 to 1 to 10 pips, or basically 100 to 1,000 points, somewhere there. So in this instance, price would move 1,000 pips, which is like what? 1,000 points, which is like what? My brain is not braining, but you get what I mean. It's freaking 2:30 a.m. But yeah, you get what I mean. A second. Yeah, wait, sorry, I was just triple checking. So 1,000 pips, basically 10 points. 1,000 points, basically 10 pips. And yeah, what this does is, so essentially this, why I call it the trend pilot scalper is because it's very, very strictly based on EMAs and EMA settings and combinations that I've used for, I won't even lie to you, literally years. From the time that I first started trading, these EMAs and these EMA settings have been a lot more consistent than I've ever been as far as trading, right? So to finally be able to get to properly automate them is something that, yeah, excited me for a very, very long time. But yeah, basically what this does is, this is for if we are in a consolidative market, or if we're in a market where basically price is not doing too well. You see, in ranging markets, this EA will do damage mawaza crazy things to your account in ranging markets. I'm telling you now. So yeah, this is basically what this basically does is, this is the number of candles that it looks back. If price is touching, what it uses to filter trends is a 50 EMA, essentially, right? The 50 EMA. What what this specific setting does is, it looks back this number of candles, and if price is touching that 50 EMA, or if price intersects that 50 EMA within this number of candles, then it waits up until we get a full 5 candles before it looks to take a trade, before it looks to take another trade, basically. Because what I've noticed is that there's yeah, I basically did this to protect from a lot of fake outs, because as I was saying, within ranging markets, or basically within indecisive markets, this account will do very hectic damage to your accounts. I won't even lie to you. This took a little bit of time to find, kind of just because and why this works is because majority of the time is just, I made it so that the EMAs don't show on the screen. What takes I made it so that the EMAs don't show on the screen. Basically, I'm gonna have to cut this out, but yeah, I made it so that the EMAs don't show on the screen. Basically, within ranging and consolidative markets, price will basically, yes, German 40 is tanking. I really wish I was in this trade. But essentially, within very consolidative markets, you'll see a lot of candles. Kind of, you won't see many candles closing above and below, or you won't see many candles closing consecutively, is what I meant to say, above or below that 50 EMA, which is essentially what this EA capitalizes off. It gets confluences from candles that have been consecutively closing above and below that 50 EMA. That's how we confirm our trends, which is why it's called the trend pilot scalper. It scalps those trends that I'm talking about. But yeah, that's basically how this works. You can think of it as a consolidation filter. The less entries you'll get, or the more late, the higher that you have this, the less entries you'll get, and kind of the more late entries that you get. Five is best on gold and currencies, and then 10 is best on indices. Yeah. Remember that 5 is best on gold, 10 is best on indices for this. But again, it fully depends. It fully depends on exactly what you're trading. So yeah, a lot of what I'm saying seems quite loose, but I'll show you why in a minute. Uh, Trend Pilot Scalper is licensed to account. Yeah, yeah. Basically, what I was saying. I'm already licensed to use this EA. I just want to check something real quick while you are still here. Okay, it doesn't show the previous logs. I wanted to show you where it wanted to buy or wanted to sell Jimmy for TME, but it's fine. It's not really that important. Um, what you'll want to play with the most is this. Let me show you strategy tester. There, what you want to play with the most is this, the strategy tester. Inputs. Okay, there. My hash key's already entered. And I'm comfortable showing you this hash key because it won't work for you. Each hash key is very specific to different accounts and stuff. But yeah, let me get back to the actual example. Break-even profits. So yeah, these are basically all of the inputs that I was showing you, except it's in free search now. But yeah, you really just want to play with this. You'll really want to play around with this. I don't recommend testing further than 3 months back, because that's when, or how do I say, you want to keep your testing within 3 month periods. Is basically what I was trying to say. Kind of just because there's things like your change in market conditions, so on and so forth. Blah blah blah. You'll start the tester, see your inputs, kind of see what works for you, and so on and so forth. Just waiting for the tester to open. You don't even have to use the visualizer. You don't even have to. Is it gonna switch the overview tab? I don't think so. But the visualize setting is just something that I prefer to use, kind of just because I want to physically see what my EA is doing every single day on the charts. You get what I mean? I want to see how it'd be performing, or how it would perform in a live market. As you can see, after the end of a 3 month period, that was essentially the low risk setting. At the end of about 3 months, we went from 1,000 to 1.9. We did get higher balances, we did get lower balances, consistent losses, consistent wins. That's part of the game. See here, quite a nice win, quite a nice win. This trade basically went to break even. Yeah, this trade basically went to break even. This trade basically went to break even. Nice win. This trade, very, very unfortunate, but it went to break even. This trade was a nice win. Blah, blah, blah. You see what I mean, though? You see what I mean, though? You do not necessarily have to test it the way that I'm testing it over these long periods, and that this is just kind of because of the way that I prefer to use it. And what I mean by that is I leave it for long periods of time untested, not untested, but unchecked, like unmonitored. You know what I mean? Like I literally just leave this running and then take a nap or sleep. As I was saying, I will where is it? Oh, here's the live chart. Basically what I would do in this instance, let me see, agents have probably tried selling. Let me open tools. But basically, yeah, you want to very much play around with the tester. You want to play around with the tester. You're going to see good results. You're going to see bad results depending on the inputs that you use, depending on the symbols that you use. But again, it's very much like literally this weekend, just freaking go crazy. Put aside like 2-3 hours, and that's the nice thing. Testing is very, very quick. It's incredibly quick. You take your time, you set your inputs, and you can literally test weeks, a month, months of how the EA would perform every single day under certain conditions with certain settings and inputs in the span of a minute, 2 minutes, sometimes 3 minutes at most. You get what I mean? So I'm basically showing you how to use the MetaTrader tester so that you can determine um, what would be best or how would be best for or how you'd want to use it. How? Didn't try opening cells. Okay. Uh, Interesting. But yeah. Oh, I'm so dumb. The time filter is on. But yeah, you'll see if I switched it off now. I'll switch it off if I switched it to free search now, it'll probably try opening a trade. Literally now. Oh, this is what I was saying. You kind of have if you try having both modes on, try having both well, let me just show you in the settings. If you try having both of these two on at the same time, that'll happen. It'll automatically disable low risk. And then research there. True. And then even this, if you try having both time filters on, then if you have both free search and the time filter on, then it'll automatically disable itself. I'm not sure if it's gonna wait for a trade to there. There. Invalid stops. Oh, I forgot. Deinitialized. So yeah, that's basically it. As you can see, this is exactly what I was saying. The moment that I put it on, it tried opening cells. Because in free search, it's literally in the name. It freely searches. If it sees an opportunity from the moment that's on the chart, it will take it. It'll literally enter at that exact moment. So again, you very much want to be wary. You want to be cautious, and you want to experiment. Literally experiment with everything, bro. Everything that's here, you want to play around with it. Everything that's here, you want to play around with it. Okay, I see why invalid stops. But yeah, everything that's here, you want to play around with it heavily as much as possible over the weekend. There are going to be tester scenarios where the account will blow, obviously depending on your risk parameters, depending on the inputs and the settings that you choose, the frequency of trades that you allow to take, so on and so forth, the times that you allow to trade in, because there were instances in the tester where the or a position will be taken a few moments before market close, and then it'll try to close the position, but it'll be market close and it won't be able to close. And then as soon as the market opens, it gets immediately stopped out in the instance where there's gaps, for example. You know what I mean? Like, for example, it'll maybe take a buy somewhere here or here, and then as soon as the market opened way down here, you find it's already below the stop loss, and so on and so forth. Those are the kind of things that you want to see for yourself in the tester. Those are the kind of things that can happen but won't happen in a live market or in actual use, because if you know that the markets are going to close, if you know that the markets are going to close and the EA still has trades open and you decide to leave them open, that's honestly a you thing. If you do not listen to the things that I'm saying now, if you are funding 200 Rand or 100 Rand and you have it on high risk, you have the lot size on freaking 0.02, 0.03, and freaking, hey, there's you allow 5 positions to open. Yeah, bro, I literally highlighted the kind of risk that I highlighted the risk modes and the funding per risk mode in and I'll send it again in the group. I'll include it in the PDF. If you have it on high risk, you don't want to be funding anything less than around 1,000 Rand. High risk is lot size on 0.03 and up, and positions to open. Um, like if you have it on, let me just show you properties. Okay, what would constitute high risk is lot size being 0.3 and up for indices, or on gold, or on gold it'll be 0.03, on currencies it'll be 0.3 as well. What will constitute high risk is your, again, the high lot size as well as high number of positions open, right? To nullify that, basically to allow you a little bit more breathing room, you want to increase what you're funding. So if you have it something similar to this, for example, 0.3, 0.4 lot size, number of positions per signal being something in the range of about 5. Now, this is what I would constitute as high risk. This is an extremely stupid thing to do. If you're finding anything less than even a thousand is a bit unreasonable for this. I don't even lie to you. If you're finding anything less than 1.2, 1.4 in this instance, it's incredibly stupid to do something like this. You get me? So yeah, these are just things that you're gonna want to look out for as far as risk. This is not meant to make you rich overnight. The goal is consistent returns over everything. And yeah, that's how you use the Trend Pilot Scalper.